There are 3 defensive players who can keep the Arizona Cardinals defense afloat in 2024. Most importantly, Kyzir White. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Cardinals Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter at Clancy's Corner _ follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making so much. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen. Free wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Some may edit that out. Not me. Not I. Ain't going to happen. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit the subscribe button. Turn notifications on. If you want to go leave a review where you can leave reviews for podcasts, that'd be awesome. I'm just happy that you're here, happy that you're everydayers, and happy that you're, ready for 2024 Arizona Cardinals season that is going to be full of surprises. This is my 8th season hosting this podcast. Been in sports radio since 2011 here in Phoenix. So everybody's ready. Everybody's ready for new. Everybody's ready for exciting. We got new last year, infused with exciting this year with the, added talent, myriad storylines, Kyler Murray ready to regain prominence, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions. Oh, yeah, they apply. So what I want to do today is highlight 3 players who I think need to take that big jump in an effort to keep the Arizona Cardinals defense afloat. And I want to highlight the players that the Cardinals do have, not the ones that some think they should go out and get, whether it be through free agency or trade. Focusing on what you can control, which for me is talking about the players that they do have as pertaining to the season that starts a month from, today. That's more important than, what would Yannick Ngakoue look like? What would the Matthew Judon or Hassan Reddick trades look like? Things that are just filler when we know that none of that's going to happen. Yannick Ngakoue signing, maybe he's coming off an injury. Remember, he would be signed to a team right now if he was the old Yannick Ngakoue. Okay? And I think Monty Osford knows that. He's got a clear finger on the pulse because he was the one who has rebuilt everything. So I think he's well under control with everything that's going on and being under control with what should be the next steps for the Cardinals. So let's talk about the players that the Cardinals already have. Darius Robinson. Unfair to ask this of a rookie, very Steve Keimy, but traditionally Steve Keimy would ask late round picks to be starters right away for need. Brandon Williams, who's a running back at Texas A&M, to play corner, and then Marco Wilson thrust in to play CB2 when he had no business doing it, especially when the Cardinals didn't have a CB1 at the time. This is different than that. I'll discuss Darius Robinson in the final segment. Sean Murphy-Bunting, new Arizona Cardinal. Why him? I'll discuss that in the second segment. But first, the heartbeat of this defense is going to be Kyzir White. Sure. Budda Baker's the leader. Budda Baker's the veteran. All of that, sure. And I've been preaching that forever. The reason why Kyzir White has the most important job to step up in 2024 is 2 or 3-fold. One, this is going to be his 3rd year in this defense because he played 1 year in this defense or 2 with Philly. Let's start with the last 3. So they made the Super Bowl. He was on that team. Came over, followed Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rallis. He was the only one who knew this defense, or as close to anyone could know this defense because there's so many different shapes and sizes and faces and formations and base structures. This defense is wild. But he's the most familiar out of anybody in the building due to his time in Philly. His skill set is one that, off-ball linebackers aren't looked at as a premium position. I think Fred Warner may have something to say about that, et cetera. But what his job for this team is going to be in 2024 is to keep everybody on the same page. Okay. We're going back to building blocks and basics here. Because, again, this team isn't going to have a whole lot of talent, comparatively speaking, especially when you correlate that to who they're playing in the quarterbacks and wide receivers and running backs. It's going to be a tough year for any defense, let alone one that is still undermanned and is still a year away from, real prominence in the league. his skill set is as such to where he has great closing speed. He hits really hard. And I wonder how they're going to use him with blitz packages. I wonder if he's going to be an addition to the pass rush that has now been vacated with BJ Ojulari going down and tearing his ACL. I think that what Kyzir White can do is stop the bleeding right away. And I think that's something that a young defense desperately needs. Because anytime, especially, and listen, the Cardinals they were terrible against the run last year. They were better against the pass. But there's not much room where you can go back in performance from where they were last year. So with the infusion of talent around the team, with the offense being better, Kyler Murray being back, there's a lot of things to go into it. Kyzir White is in a perfect spot, not only for this year, but to be in line for a big extension, to be the guy for the future. So yes, for him, selfishly for him, I'm not saying he's selfish, but a selfish reason for him is the world is his oyster with the money that's open for him. He knows how much salary cap they have next year. He knows his contract is up after this year. We know all this. So even more so to show his worth, and I think that it's gonna happen organically. The dude's a leader. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He hits really hard. And take away where he almost decapitated Sam Howell last year. I think that was just excitement of a week 1 game. But when you look at who is most important, most needed to step up. Now the BJ Ojulari is out. It's why not be the guy in the middle of the field with the pulse of the defense? I think it makes the most sense. Even though he's not a pass rusher, he's kind of a rover. Again, with great closing speed, hits really hard, really smart, knows the defense. So he's going to be, the conductor of this with a lot of young guys who have never been in this defense before. And I think that if he can step up, it will stop the bleeding I'm going to get there. Maybe I won't. It'll stop the bleeding before it starts. And I think that is wildly important, obviously. And this isn't a stretch where it's like, Zaven Collins needs to be the guy this year to really save the defense. No. Anything from Zaven will be a bonus. We'll see where they use him this year. We'll see. But he's not on the list for a reason. Kyzir White has the skill set, the aptitude, the history in this defense, and the position to be able to impact the other 10 on the field, especially, Mac Brown, who hasn't Mac Wilson. Mac Brown, what am I doing here? Mac Wilson, who hasn't been in this defense before, is going to play alongside him. That's going to be the most important position for the Cardinals in 2024, solely predicated upon keeping everybody on the same page. And I don't think there's a better guy on the team to do it than Kyzir White. Locked on Cardinals, your team every day. Sean Murphy-Bunting. Why isn't it Budda Baker? Why isn't it Jalen Thompson? Why isn't it Zaven Collins? It's Sean Murphy-Bunting for a very specific reason. You want to know what it is? You got to wait. Next. This episode of Locked on Cardinals is brought to you by LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs, man. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role. Like in a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Kyzir White, this is a perfect time to have a career year. Not only for 2024, but for the future with the Cardinals. Like everydayers, I discuss this fairly regularly. I used to say that the Arizona Cardinals don't have very many Arizona Cardinals on the roster. And it was one of the more astute things that I say. I know, one a month, you're going to get some gem from me. That's my quota here. Locked on Cardinals. It would always be trade for Zach Ertz, trade for DeAndre Hopkins, sign players out there, sign, instead of just, draft well and then extend. So the Arizona Cardinals on the roster as of 3 years ago was like Budda Baker, Jalen Thompson, DJ Humphries, Kyler Murray, James Conner, or, whatever, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. That was it. Larry Fitzgerald when he was playing, but that was only 3 years ago. Like, there's very few players of impact that were homegrown players by the Cardinals. And now, James Conner, I've said, is an honorary, like, he's been ingratiated, like he's an Arizona Cardinal. People, when he retires, will be like, I forgot that he played for the Steelers. That's where we're at now. I think Kyzir White is the next one on the block to get enshrined into being an Arizona Cardinal, even though he wasn't drafted here. And I think he has the capacity, the skill set, the acumen to be able to really level up this year and stop the bleeding before it starts. Now, Sean Murphy-Bunting, this is his third team since getting drafted in 2019, I believe. Drafted by Tampa Bay, won a Super Bowl, played with Tennessee last year, had kind of a down year. Comes over to the Arizona Cardinals with a brand spanking new cornerback room. Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson predominantly have kind of overcome the shortcomings of the cornerback room. I think, period. I don't even think I have to put a year there. I mean, the Cardinals cornerback room has been terrible forever. And terrible is not fair. Not good forever. Below average forever. So why Sean Murphy-Bunting and not Jalen Thompson or Budda Baker? Sean Murphy-Bunting has Super Bowl pedigree. Okay, he was part of a machine that won a Super Bowl. Yes, it was with Tom Brady. But he's done it before. Okay. And that's a far cry from the cornerbacks that the Cardinals had rolling out last year. Starling Thomas, Catrell Clark, Marco Wilson. Just not good. Just not good. Garrett Williams was fine when he came back. But it was something that the Cardinals desperately needed some sort of veteran leadership in their room specifically. And while Sean Murphy-Bunting is not an old player by any stretch, going through it before is something that is going to pay massive dividends for the Cardinals. And with players who are so impressionable, the rookies, Max Melton and Garrett Williams in his second year, and we'll see where Elijah Jones falls on the depth chart. Starling Thomas preseason is listed as a starter, so hopefully I can eat my words and he can really take a jump this year. Because if the Cardinals get another corner that can play meaningful snaps and play well, I mean, that'll be just a bonus. But Sean Murphy-Bunting's is more leadership-wise and not necessarily play on the field. Play on the field obviously is more important than leadership when push comes to shove. But having a guy like him who can step into that leadership role, that's going to be the big jump for him that would be needed for the Cardinals. Unlike Kyzir White touches every position. He's directly correlated to every position. With the cornerback room, it's like, okay, so you got the pass rush, you got the corner. That's the tie. He's played well enough to where if he plays B to B minus football in 2024 and really, really helps the young guys, it'll be worth the contract and it'll make the team better. Now, that's not to say that, he's going to give up his well-being. It's like, oh yeah, let me just train Max Melton so he can take my spot. No, that's not what I'm saying. He has a skill set that lends very nicely to what Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rallis want to do. And he's already the best corner on the team. Even if he did have a down year last year, he's already the best player in the cornerback room. Just is. We'll see if Max Melton can jump in and right away and be CB1 or something like that. Or if Garrett Williams can take that step up and be the guy. Sean Murphy-Bunting's the best corner on the team already. Just with pedigree. So if you can infuse some of that leadership and teach the young guys on and off the field about how to be NFL players, how to prepare, how to be ready, how to read quarterback's eyes, how to do everything like that, they all hit really hard. So that part takes care of itself. It's the mental aspect for the cornerback that is very difficult at times. And with it being, in my opinion, the toughest position to play in football, having a veteran like Sean Murphy-Bunting in your corner to go along with Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson is going to be invaluable for 2024 and beyond. So that's why I think the second guy that needs to step up, it's a little bit more abstract than Kyzir White. It's more, okay, learn the defense, be ready, be a B-level corner, but really lead this cornerback room, which will allow the younger guys to maybe shorten the learning curve and be able to make an impact quicker, which is something the Cardinals desperately need. Alex Clancy, Locked On Cardinals. Darius Robinson, under a microscope. Next, it's not rushing the process like Steve Keim used to do. And it's the same, but different. That's science. Next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by the Game Time app. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace in Major League Baseball. It makes getting tickets easier and faster. Very simple. Ticket prices go down as you get closer to first pitch. They've got deals all over the place, man. Last minute deals, all in prices. The views from your seat. Every day, you know that I talk about this every single time. You get to see what the vantage point will be before you buy the tickets. What? Like, this is revolutionary stuff, man. You can see exactly what you'll be looking at. It doesn't even matter if it's baseball. Could be a concert. Could be a comedy show. Could be football games. Vantage point from the app before you buy the tickets. It's an absolute game changer. Take the guesswork out of buying Major League Baseball tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account. Redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets. Lowest price. Guaranteed. So the Cardinals have a game on Saturday. I'm waiting until the last second to record Friday's show. Like, I won't post it at midnight. But, like, you know, I want to hear who's going to play and who's not going to play. Like, I could do it on Thursday, but it's like, that's why I'm doing this instead. I think it's a little stutter step here as we get into the preseason portion where we're going to see a lot. Like, preseason's all about filling out your depth chart and your roster, you know, trimming down and then trimming down to 53. But, yeah, we'll see. I mean, what if Max Melton just balls out and he ends up being CB? Like, crazier things have happened. But all things considered, you'd expect Sean Murphy-Bunting to be CB1 rolling into week one, and I think that he's going to be incredibly beneficial for the young guys. While that seems very simple and obvious, the Cardinals haven't had that in quite some time. Think about the last time the Cardinals have had a veteran corner. I mean, Patrick Peterson, okay? Seriously, Drake Kirkpatrick? Malcolm Butler before he retired, before playing it down, and then went back to New England. It's been a long time, man. That's why it's so, like, it gets overlooked because all we've discussed forever with the cornerback room is, maybe next year. Maybe Steve Keim will figure it out next year. Maybe they'll figure it out next year. Byron Murphy experiment didn't work. You know why? Because he wasn't a CB1, and Steve Keim didn't have the wherewithal to bring in a bona fide CB1 so Byron Murphy could play his natural position. Darius Robinson. Rookie out of Missouri. He's going to be able to play across the entirety of the defensive line, which is fantastic. He played, for those who don't know, he played on the interior of the defensive line 2 years ago, and then last year in college, he played on the outside. He played D-end. So he's seasoned in both. He's an absolute mauler. He's a big man. Okay? And just a reset here, I always use Marco Wilson as an example because it's the newest, but it's just one of, myriad examples where Steve Keim traded up, drafted him in the 4th round, and then just threw him in. It's like, all right, we need a CB2. There you go. Good luck. And he never learned at a natural and organic level how to play at the NFL level. Steve Keim he set him up to fail, and he did. Darius Robinson, this is different. So he was drafted at 27. Okay. He was going to be a part of what was a terrible defensive line last year, A lot of it was injury. LJ Collier, Jonathan Ledbetter, Dante Stills was banged up at times. Like it wasn't great. Then they added Bilal Nichols. You added Justin Jones. Dante Stills coming back to be, to maybe be a surprise guy in the interior. And now he's going to be a part of a team that now has some skill, some talent to be able to start to slowly move forward. And then you'll add in free agency next year in the draft, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And now with BJ Ojulari out, it tweaks a little bit, but it's not something that, and I discussed this right when Ojulari went down, and this is not a knock on BJ Ojulari at all. He's not all pro. They weren't relying on him to keep the pass rush afloat. It just so happened that that's what the case was. So when you look at Darius Robinson, much like Marvin Harrison Jr. on the offense, where I've said multiple times that he doesn't have any pressure in 2024. It's a rookie. And also, this is a run-first team, and their first option on offense is either Trey McBride or James Conner. Like, he's not wide receiver one and the first on the everything chart right away. He's just not. I mean, this is an adult offense. They've got veterans who have played exemplary, and they're going to get the touches because that's what's worked. And sure, that could flip by week 5. But right now, that's the case. He doesn't have pressure because he doesn't have to do it all. Darius Robinson doesn't have pressure in the sense that there's no real expectation the pass rush is going to do anything this year. All you want to see from Darius Robinson is incremental improvement every week. There's your cliche for the day. But with BJ Ojulari going down, and this is why I put him on the list, the guy who must step up front, he's the only candidate. You're not going to say Dennis Gardeck. You're not going to say Zaven Collins. You're going to say Bilal Nichols. You're not going to say Justin Jones. You're not going to say Dante Stills. You're not going to say that. And what a fantastic setup for a special rookie year. For a player that when the Cardinals drafted him, I'm assuming the majority of the league was like, who? Not the majority of the league of people in the know, but fans. Who? This is the guy the Cardinals wanted. Now it's his time to shine. And there isn't pressure on him to produce because his pass rush was supposed to be bad anyways. And that sounds like kind of a negative, backhanded kind of this defense isn't good. Defense isn't great. It's just calling what it is. But if he can come out, like say he gets 10 sacks this year, everything changes. Because he's doing it with some role players, sure, and we'll see what the blitz package is going to look like with Zaven Collins or Kyzir White or Mac Wilson if they're going to use him as kind of a hybrid because that's what he was back and forth with New England. This one is more of a wish for me. He's got the skills. I mean, he's been doing a bang-up job during camp. Let me put it in perspective like this. Removing Marvin Harrison Jr. because he plays on offense, obviously, to this point. The last stud, okay, let me start that sentence over. The last top picks in the first round on the defensive side of the ball for the Cardinals were Isaiah Simmons, Zaven Collins, and now Darius Robinson. From the second preseason football started, Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins were lost immediately. Nope, not ready. Zaven Collins, to his credit, did have some pretty good defensive moments getting in the backfield. It was either as a rookie or a second year during preseason. But first game, completely lost. Well, they're a rookie. It's a thing. Yes, that is one outcome, especially on defense because it's a new defense, young. It's a quicker speed, even if it is you're playing against twos. Let's see what Darius Robinson looks like from the jump. Because rarely, especially awareness-wise, understanding the defense-wise, understanding packages-wise, rarely does a player look like an NFL player right away and regress in the preseason. It's like the NFL is hard. You don't get lucky by getting in the backfield 3 or 4 times. And of course, it depends on the offensive line you're playing against, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But that's what I'm going to be looking for. That's really, and I'll give my things to watch once we find out exactly who's playing. We know Kyler Murray's not playing, but I want to wait longer for that. I just hope this guy's a special year. for himself, for the team, for the future of this organization. And if he does take that step up, this pass rush may surprise some people. Just saying. Could be fun. Remember, without you, there is no me. Locked On Cardinals. I will talk to you tomorrow.